Hey everyone, this is Steve Wiideman with the Unbottleneck podcast, where we solve common digital marketing problems. And today with us is Ashleigh Chanel, a B2B and B2C marketing genius here. Marketing genie, actually, on the bio from what I saw. I got to hear about this one. To make all of your marketing dreams come true. Sought after for creating successful end-to-end marketing campaigns and digital media strategies. Ashleigh is the CEO of Make Your Mark, a digital marketing agency that transforms businesses into revenue generating and impact creating machines. Ashleigh, thank you so much for being on the show. Talk to me about what a marketing genie is.
Thank you for having me. And a marketing genie is someone, I have just realized that when it comes to marketing, though I'm a marketer, I do say that marketing is hard because there are a lot of things that go into it. There's not necessarily just one thing you can do to make your marketing work. So I have said that I'm the marketing genie because people need someone there for them to just tell them what to do and put it together, and then it just works. Sometimes, with marketing, there are some things that need to be tweaked and tested, but for the most part, for businesses to, take that off their shoulders, I'm there for them. They're marketing genie.
That's amazing. We have to get together after this call and design some buttons to send out to all of my clients that basically say anti last click, right? Because it sounds like what you do really encompasses making sure all of the different pieces of digital marketing are working together and seamless and the narrative's consistent. Whereas, when some businesses get really myopic on just SEO, they're looking at last click in many cases,
Right.
and not the journey that the buyer is taking before they finally do that branded search to become a customer. So I could see a lot of businesses really needing that. Give me the gamut of all these different things I need to do and help me to to make sure that I'm consistent in my messaging across all these different mediums.
Absolutely. I say that I'm a holistic marketer because it's not
Uh-huh.
just about, like you said, the last click. It's not just
Right.
about getting the sale. It's about curating an experience for the customer so that they continue to come back, so that they feel comfortable when they buy and also comfortable when they are referring you, because referrals are
Right.
great, but you still need to make sure that you're building, like, the longevity of your business is important to you.
Right. Yeah, and it's not just about getting the customer, it's about the brand loyalty and cross-selling and
Mhm.
upselling and so many other things that we do after the transaction. A lot of businesses seem to get caught up on just get me the traffic. And it's like, well, there's a lot more than that when you look at the, like you said, the holistic perspective of things. So I put some questions together for you. Nothing too crazy, I promise. But these are questions that we took from looking at some of your history and what you've been pushing out on social media, and we thought this could be really helpful to some of our listeners who aren't really doing a lot of paid social and being really active in overall digital marketing.
Mhm.
Our first one is kind of a popular question, and we do get asked this quite a bit too. And this is, do Facebook ads work? As you know, a lot of our search clients want to be there when someone's performing a search for what they offer, and Google Ads does a good job of that. But Facebook really isn't a search engine, right? It's more of a social media platform. But do Facebook ads work? And what are some of your kind of core reasons to believe, especially for those who may have only advertised in the world of Google Ads or Bing Ads?
Mhm. Absolutely, Facebook ads work. Actually, I get a lot of people who come to me or who ask the question, or actually, they really just come at me and say, Facebook ads don't work. And
I
I,
heard they were fake clicks or something. Yeah.
yeah, there are a lot of things that go on with Facebook ads, but fake clicks happen when you don't set up your campaign properly.
Okay.
But also, I also say it's not the ads, it's you. And not sorry when I say that,
Okay.
because with the right strategy, your Facebook ads will work. And for someone who's coming from just doing the Google AdWords and search intent, which is fantastic. I think the thing about Facebook ads is that we are now in a realm and an era, if you will, that you need more than 8 touch points to get someone to buy off of the internet when they're cold. And I
Right.
know that, and when I say eight, I know some people might know the sales, the old sales saying that it takes eight touch points to get someone to buy from you, but that's active sales. That's like when you're getting somebody on their
Sure.
phone or they come to your door or something like that. That's eight touch
Right.
points, but now it's between 12 and 24 touch points online. So what Facebook ads are going to do is keep you on top of mind. You're going to pop up in front of people, um, where they're just scrolling, where they are spending the most amount of their time with the offer that makes the most sense to them. So that's why I think Facebook ads are so important, um, or and in addition to Google ads.
Right. Yeah, I love the idea that it's more about the audiences now. Like a keyword doesn't define who your audience is. They might have,
Mhm.
20 different intentions based on the keyword they searched. But if you know that this person is interested in this type of product, whereas in this industry, you can target them based on affinity and target them based on what their interests are in Facebook. Whereas in Google, when you're doing keyword search anyway, it's really just kind of guessing and hoping the person who typed this keyword has an intent to buy. I love
And
I love that idea. And yeah, go ahead.
sorry, and you know that I think that when it comes to Facebook ads, sometimes people don't know what to type in. Sometimes people don't know what their problem is, right? So when you're on Google ads, you're talking to people who are problem aware. They might be solution aware. They might even be product aware, right? They may even know about you specifically, so they type that in. But people who are not problem aware, or who are completely unaware, or may not even know what the solution is called, I think that's also where Facebook ads come in, because you can put your offer in front of someone who's like, oh, okay, that's exactly what I've been looking for. Or I wonder if that would work for me. So then they can click more.
Right. I love it. So the short answer is yes, Facebook ads work. The long answer is you need to make sure that you have a solid strategy and that you're targeting correctly because like you said, it's if it's not working, it's you. It's not the platform. I love it. Um, as we dive into social media advertising campaigns for platforms like Facebook, can you give us a sense of what kind of existing organic presence on Facebook you'd like to see for businesses before they begin rolling out advertising efforts? And when ads begin, what's your ideal balance between creating free versus paid content to reach those audiences?
Absolutely, I recommend every business have an organic marketing strategy. I think that is so important because, um, number one, you know what they're interacting with. You actually know what their problems are when it comes to social media or organic, because you're actually talking to them, or you should be, right? When you create your organic marketing strategy and for social media, it has to make sense for your business. So that's why when people say, well, don't look at what everyone else is doing, make sure you're authentic to your business. That's when that comes in, because
Right.
I know exactly where my clients are in different levels, like when it comes to B2B, or when I'm doing consulting work, or when I'm doing B2C work. I make sure I know who my client is. And that's where the organic marketing strategy comes in. And that's why it's going to help you so much, because you truly get to understand who your clients are when they DM you. You get to talk to them, you get to ask them questions.
Yeah.
And then even like when you can, in Instagram stories or in Facebook stories, you can do polls and see what content are people actually interacting with. And that's content you want to create more of. But if you just automatically go to ads and you have an offer that you didn't try organically to see if anybody was even interested, then you're going to be spending
Right.
money that you really just either don't have or don't want to spend. And then that's when you're going to come and say, Facebook ads don't work.
Yeah, I know. I've actually clicked on a few ads to go back to the person who was advertising to see who
Mhm,
they were, and decided not to purchase because they didn't have any history, any posts or anything. It was just a
mhm.
business went online, decided to start throwing up ads, but I'm like, I don't know who you are, and I'm not going to leave Facebook to figure it out. So I want to go back and see the kind of content. I want to see what other people are saying, in the feed. So I think that part of it's really important is to show that hey, we're an active, living, breathing brand. Check us out here on Facebook, and as opposed to just clicking an ad and hopefully making a purchase. So I think
Absolutely.
that could make a difference for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I think
So
the
oh, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is I've realized that when it comes to why people hire me, it really has
Mhm.
more to do with my personality. People just actually like me and they want to hire me along with the things that I can do for them. But um,
Right.
I think that's really important. And my personality is in my social media. I'm silly, but I also do know what I'm doing. So I think that puts people at ease. And I also am very great at explaining things and helping people understand. So I think whenever you do that and you're able to incorporate your personality or your business's personality in your organic strategy, I think that's going to be really, really helpful. And that was a really great point.
Yeah, so much authenticity there too. I think when somebody sees a or puts a face to a name, right, as opposed to just here's products, here's service, here's our picture of our company building. You're like, okay, but who are you as a company? Who are you as a brand?
Right.
I think you're right. Hey, so our listeners are clear. Can you explain the difference between Facebook ads and boosted posts? I've done this a few times and I get it, but you could probably explain it so much better than me. When, if ever, is it a good time for companies to consider boosted posts versus creating a campaign in Facebook Ads Manager?
Yes, I get this question a lot also. I did a post
I get
on it.
yelled at, by the way, for boosting posts. Brian,
Yeah,
who's probably listening to this later, is gonna, be nodding right now because whenever I think we have a really good post, I'm like, oh, I got to boost this, and then he's
right.
like, why did you boost that? And I'm like, because I thought we want to get more visibility to it. He's like, that
Yeah.
wasn't very strategic. That was impulsive. I'm like, I know.
Exactly. And people think when they boost post, they're running ads and it's not. So the difference is, I would say, when you're boosting posts, you're really just doing that to get engagement. Even though there
Sure.
is an option to send someone to your website or something like that, it's really not the same. And you do not get the same features as far as targeting as you would when you're actually going
Mm,
to run an ad. When you're running ads, you have to go into Facebook Ads Manager. You don't just like you're promoting posts or boosting posts. You don't just do that from the actual post. So just to be
right.
clear, boosting posts is for engagement. And Facebook ads are going to actually give you the opportunity to get in front of your audience at the desired time that you want to get in front of them. Meaning, if you're looking just for brand
Okay.
awareness, like the awareness stage. You can focus on sending your ads to a greater number of people for a lower cost. You can also get in front of people for
Sure.
the consideration stage of the buyer journey where people are like, I don't know who I want to go with or what I want to do. And you can get people for traffic and engagement and things like that to get people um, or even video views, and those are very low cost, and I definitely recommend those for people. But your ads have intent for the business. So if you want someone to convert, you're going to use a conversion ad. You're not going to use traffic, because what Facebook is going to do is
Right.
put your ads in front of people who are more likely to convert or more likely to just click on your ad. And if you're looking for conversion, but you pick something that's going or pick an ad objective that's going to get people to
Okay.
just click, you're wasting your money. And most people don't know that. So that there is the difference. One of them makes you money and one of them just gets you engagement. So Facebook ads make you
So
money.
thinking about engagement, what's the most appropriate time to do a boosted post then, in your opinion? What are some good examples
Um,
of boosted posts that perform really well?
Honestly, I
Maybe
don't.
polls, surveys, or something.
I think that
Would you
boosted
rather?
posts. I
Right?
think
That's a
boosted
would you rather
posts.
post, right? That's a boosted post.
I mean, yeah, that is one. Honestly, I think boosted posts are great if you already have a large following on your Facebook page. That
Okay.
way you can reach more of the people who are already liking your page. I think that's a great time to boost a post. I also think to promote a post on Instagram, if you just want more likes, honestly, if you want more likes and potentially more followers on Instagram, if the post was great. But I would not
Okay.
just boost posts for just to be boosting them because you think it's running ads. There are better and more strategic ways, like Brian said.
Yep. Set up your Facebook campaigns. I love it. Can you introduce our listeners to Facebook stories and especially Facebook story ads and how they work? Is this something you are currently implementing for businesses, or do you think it will become more of a significant thing for businesses?
I think, okay, so Facebook stories are similar to Instagram stories, but if you don't know what either are, Facebook stories are a way for, I like them a lot. I think they're great for organic marketing because you can do so many things with Facebook stories. You are able to show people the behind the scenes of kind of like what you're doing, show more personality in your company or in just about you. Like, what are you doing day to day? What projects are you working on? Like, I've used Facebook stories to show people what I'm doing in someone's ad account, and showing them the
Okay.
difference between, like click through rate or, conversion rate and what kind of decisions I'm going to make based off of that. And then I've
Short
also shown people.
bites of information, right?
Exactly, right. And I've also shown people like my like morning routine, but in hyperlapse, right? So I think they're great. And as far as the stories, I think it's great to show up in the stories. But I think the content, when you're doing stories content, I also do like to create ads for the placement.
Mhm.
So when you're doing stories, ads, I think it's important to be more native, which means more real, I guess, if you want to say,
Okay.
to get people to, like feel like they're getting to know you a little bit more.
And more authentic. That authentic word comes back into play here. Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure. I love it. That's really so. Yeah, it's interesting because I know Instagram. It's like its own world, right? They've got all these new Instagram reels, and I think the first one I did was just a really sped up view of the sunrise in Cancun, and I thought,
Hmm.
hey, this is cool. I can actually show people in this little reel a neat little story of what the morning's like in Cancun.
Yeah.
Just as a for my personal profile. But I kept thinking from a business standpoint, how could I use reels and how could I use some of these stories to share a bit of who we are as a company and where we're going and what we're doing without it being
Mhm.
sort of self promotional. Because my understanding is a lot of what we're trying to share on social is about what we could do for other people and about other people, not about us, right?
Right. And you
Um,
don't have to dance on reels. You don't have to get really crazy. Like on my reels, what I was doing was honestly, I gave, on one of them, I gave tips on what I think lead magnets were best for coaches. That was one
okay,
of the ones. I just did 5 and I did them quickly and I didn't really go into depth. I just explained a little bit more in my caption, but that's when I sent people to a call to action. I said, "Hey, DM me if you have any questions or if you need help, with your lead magnet or something like that." So I
sure.
think
So
reels
for those
are.
people listening who want to check that out, what's the handle that they should use so they could follow you?
Oh, yes, you can follow me on Instagram at
Um,
Ashley Chanel. So ASHLEIGH Chanel, CHANEL, all one word.
Sweet. I definitely think people are going to want to check that out because they always need something to base, when they're looking at, hey, what should I be doing? And they
Mm,
want to look at an example. They want to see what people are doing. And I know this is a little bit off topic, but when I look at platforms like TikTok and I'm like, my teenager's doing all the TikTok stuff with her friends, yet
mhm.
Will Smith is on there and he's crushing it. He's doing a great job.
Oh my gosh, Will Smith.
Who was the guy from Saturday Night Fever? John Travolta was on there doing a
Mhm.
little dance thing, and like people are
Will
on there.
Smith
People
is
our
the
age are
king
on
of
there, and it's
social
like, what do we?
media.
Uh-huh. But what do we do as a business? What? So for me, here's the challenge, right? As a business, I can go out there and do like the Neil Patel videos and say, here's how to do this, and here's what, and here's why, and here's whatever. But
Mhm.
he's already kind of done that, and so have others. And it's like if I can't have a campaign theme, and there's a lot of businesses have the same feeling. Like if I can't build up a specific theme of things, whether it's how to studies, research, humorous skits, tips, whatever, right? Well, if I can't figure out what those themes are and create a schedule to do something consistent, I don't want to do it at all. So I think 90% of businesses aren't getting into it simply because they haven't been able to lock
They
down
don't have
what
a
they
plan.
want their theme or their campaign strategy to be. Do you see that?
Yes, the analysis paralysis of social media is real. It is crazy and it is quite unfortunate. I actually today was on a call with 2 separate people talking about their content. And one of the things I did for one of my consulting clients is we went through all of the things, all of the FAQs that he gets, and all of the
Yeah.
things that he's doing. But also, I said, what is it that you want to be known for? What is it that your
Right.
business is doing? What are you launching? Right? Um, those are questions that you can ask yourself, and that's how you know what to create your content around. So if you're getting questions around specific questions every day or every week, that's what you should do content around. If you are looking to become a thought leader, then what is it that you want to become a thought leader in? And think about those pillar pieces of like overarching subjects that you talk about, and then just
Right.
kind of break them down. And social media, I think we have, like, we're watching the influencers, we're watching people crush it, and we're watching some of these people with amazing production, and it makes us feel a
Yeah.
little out of place, and like we
Intimidated. Yeah.
can't, right, and like we can't do it. But at the end of the day, how dare we not show up for our audience, especially when we have something so amazing for them that can help them move from where they are in their bad place to where they want to be in their great place or optimal place. So I think
Right.
just keeping it simple. What are people asking you? What are you launching? Let's talk about the problems people have, the goals people have, and maybe the fears, and then and then just create pieces of content around that. And I know I'm making it sound way easier than it is, but
Oh,
those are
I
just
have the
tips.
face in front of a camera syndrome where I feel like I don't want to be that guy who shows up in the stream and he's talking at the
Mm,
camera. Right? I want to do something funny or humorous or um, weird or just something that I think people would enjoy. Because I feel like
yeah.
when I see my peers doing it,
Hmm.
I'm almost cringing. Right? I'm almost like I don't want to watch because I feel like he's just gonna talk at me about something he thinks I should do or something, and
Right.
it's kind of a turn off. Right?
Yeah.
So
But
I don't
it's
know.
just
I have to
like,
think
if your audience isn't, you're seeing it because you're in the industry, right? But your
yeah.
audience isn't in the same industry. So you're seeing all of your friends, all of your peers, all of your colleagues, and other people doing these things, but your audience isn't seeing that. So you think it's played out, but it really isn't, because they haven't seen it before.
Okay. Interesting. I'll have to think about it some more for sure. Um, Next question. What are some big mistakes you regularly see from businesses in their Facebook and social media advertising efforts? And I definitely got a few ideas here too, but what are some of the big ones that you've seen?
There was a huge trend of using images that had nothing to do with the content that was on the ads. That always bothered
Are
me.
they
I
just following
thought,
hashtags?
well, it was like they were doing, like, for ads, they were doing pattern interrupt, right? But there are ways to be on brand and do a pattern interrupt. And but
Okay.
like, some people were selling courses, but they would have a picture of a cat, and it just did not make any
I remember that.
sense.
I remember that. Yep. That's
So
so
that was
funny.
bothersome for me, and people still do it, and I think it's
Because some
very
marketer
annoying.
told them people will click on it and see it because it's visual. Like the gray sweater girl from the late 2000s, remember? That she got more clicks than anybody, right? And so they would use her picture simply because it got clicked on, even though it had nothing to do with the
Yeah,
business, you know?
it's very silly. And I think something else that is annoying when I see on Facebook ads is
Mhm.
everyone's content, everyone's copy. So the text that they write is the same. It's
Yeah,
so aggravating, and it's because they see that it's working for some of these gurus and things like that. But your audience and your messaging matter, right? And so you need to hone your messaging so that you can speak to your audience, not trying to speak to the audience
right.
of those that you see around you, because you're going to get people who are not ideal for you. And I think that's one of the things, that's one of the big mistakes that I see a lot. Because right now I'm seeing a lot of ads for people launching courses
Yep.
and agencies, and I'm like, this copy is the exact same. Oh my goodness.
So it's repetitive, and at some point, I'm sure that users are gonna become blind to it. They're just not going to see it. They're gonna be like, "Yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen this a million times." And in fact, they'll probably get to the place where like, "This is annoying. I see it too often." They'll click that in the option as to why they hide the ad, and eventually the
absolutely.
algo will pick up on this ad not being very helpful.
Hmm.
That makes
What are
sense.
you seeing?
Um, Yeah, I've seen some weird things. I've seen where all the content strategy is curated, right? So instead of us coming up with our own ideas, let's just share other people's stuff all day long. And the
Mm,
problem with that is in certain industries, you're already following the source originator. You don't. So there's been
that's
times
true.
where I've taken a screenshot of the same thing being shared between multiple people in our industry. It's like, guys, it's cool, right? But we're all sharing the same thing.
Right.
Maybe we should start coming up with our own interpretation or our own viewpoint and then reference it in our page,
Exactly.
because it's getting saturated.
Exactly. And
Yeah, not
yeah,
that
to
curation
your
is a bad
point,
thing. I think if there's something really helpful that people want to have their own, feedback on, I think that's great. But when they're just sharing,
right.
without a lot of context behind it, it gets pretty repetitive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the memes. I think that's a lot. I'm seeing that a lot in content strategy as well. And I think memes are cool, they are fun, but if your job, if what you want your content to do is sell for you, because you absolutely can create content that sells without having to use ads, but
right,
you can't consistently use memes because yes, those are very entertaining, but you need to bring it home and you need to show people what
right.
you are able to do for them, not just make them laugh.
Right. And it's got to be helpful. That's the one thing I look at, even if it's just humor. Like I follow a lot of comedy shows because, my life is very busy, very stressful. So when I have a few minutes to just unplug and start flipping through the timeline, I love to see comedy and I love to see travel. The comedy
Hmm.
makes me laugh. The travel makes me, say, hey, we're going to go to this place at some point, or hey, we
Yes.
should add this to our place of things we want to go. So yeah, if I'm just looking at memes all day, there's a burnout, right? It's like, okay, this is funny. And then at some point, everyone's already seen all the memes, right? Like
Yeah.
the students, one of the pet peeves I get in the classes I teach, I always ask, what are your pet peeves with teachers? When teachers use really old memes that we've seen a million times. And
Mm.
I'm like, oh, I need to up my game because I got half those memes on my courses. So like I stayed up late and I came up with some new ones. I even cheeseballed it out a little bit and got in front of the green screen and replicated some of the memes with my own picture just
Oh,
to be
that's
silly
fun.
and goofy and different. But that's you're right. I think people are online a lot and they're seeing a lot of the same content. And if it's memes, they've probably already seen the meme. And in
Yeah.
some cases, I know what they're trying to do, like with the Bernie thing or with the lady yelling at the cat. Right?
Yeah.
I think they're trying to have a voice in the funny conversations and to get their
Mm.
2 cents of or 2 seconds of fame in there, right? Um,
Yeah.
I'm guessing, but yeah, I don't see that as helping build the business or build the brand. And in many cases, if
Mhm.
they're hashtagging, they're probably also attracting a lot of people who aren't even right for them to be following them. You know,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
a
Just
great
just
point.
throwing that out there. Yep. Well, hey, can you share some of your best practices for us and how to go about setting up Facebook campaigns and promoting your business on Facebook organically without having to spend a lot of money?
Absolutely. Okay, so for Facebook ad
Best
campaigns,
practices.
my best practices would be number one, and this is for any and everything that I do. I don't,
Okay.
regardless of what clients I take on, I always ask, what is your ideal client? So knowing who your client is or your audience is,
Hmm.
that is best practice number one, so that you know exactly what they want and how you can help them and how you can serve them. That way, you are able to write the copy, the text that goes in the ad, um, in ways that speak directly to them, right? Because I know that with my those who are looking for consulting help, I know that they are not interested in actually doing the marketing. Number one, because they do have a team. I know that about them, but I also know that they want to be better. And so I can speak to that yearning right inside of
Right.
them, knowing that they want to be better with their marketing and send their business to the next level. But they just
Right.
don't know where to start. And not knowing where to start is something that we all have experienced in some way, shape, or form. So I can speak to the frustration, the overwhelm of all of that. So I think it's very important to know your audience so that you can speak to them in the text. And then also, best practices, I would say, make sure you have a pixel installed on your website. I know this may seem basic to some, but a lot of
Don't spend
people
any money unless you're tracking ever. It drives me. We should have added that to the
please,
mistakes. Like, hey, I spent $20,000. How many conversions did you get? I don't know.
Exactly.
right?
Yes, that should have been a mistake I forgot to mention, but you have to have a pixel installed on your site because you must track, right? And then um also choosing the correct objective is going to help you um it's going to help you more than you could ever think. Like I said earlier, if you want conversions, but you chose a traffic ad, you're not going to get the conversions that you're looking for, especially if you don't have the right funnel or sales process on the back end. And that is my next tip. Best practices: have your sales process just set up wonderfully so that once people click on your ad, because let me tell you, the goal of the ad is to get people to click. It's to get people
Yeah,
to be interested in what you have. It's not there to sell for you. What's there to sell for you is your conversion system, whether that's your landing page or a phone call or something like that. And then you can use your follow up system like emails or SMS or Messenger to follow
marketing
up with them.
automation.
But yeah,
Yep.
I would say those are my best practices for Facebook ad campaigns. And then for organic Facebook or just organic social media in general,
Mhm.
again, knowing your audience, but planning plan out your content because it's going to make life a lot easier. And this is one of the things that I love to do. I like video. It's easy for me to talk. So I would say choose whatever source is going to be easiest for you, whether that is podcasting, writing like a blog post, or video. But I love video and
Or video,
podcasting
yeah.
because you can take the snippets, you can turn them into audiograms, you can turn them into shorter videos that are teasers that you can send people other places, and you can repurpose this content and reuse it for graphic posts or tweets for Twitter. There's just so many things. So my what I love about like organic social media is that you can take that information and use it for days and months and repost it and reuse it and also use it in your ads.
I love that. I know when I'm doing Google ads, especially for e-commerce, one of the things that I
Hmm.
try to develop is like a structure. So I'll have a brand campaign where if someone's searching for my name, that I appear or my client appears. I'm sure in Facebook we'd probably want to do something similar. So when
Hmm.
they are seeing content about us or seeing our name or have an affinity for us, that we're appearing there, like, hey, you're interested in us, we're here. Second
Absolutely.
is the product names, then product types. These are all different campaigns that I might set up in a Google Ads platform. Then product
Hmm.
benefits, and then maybe do some conquesting. Depending on whether I've exhausted those other approaches first. So I can imagine in a Facebook ad strategy that you've got a similar structure, right? It's brand and affinity and product type and product interest, or now,
Right.
are there structures like that businesses can refer to so that when they start setting up ads, they're not just like, well, I guess I'll start with this product, right?
Yes. I would say that when you are starting your ads, and this is for someone who has gotten conversions already from their store,
Sure.
and they have their pixel installed, I think you
Yeah.
can start with conversion ads because
Okay.
especially if you have your pixel event running, Facebook knows what a conversion looks like for you, and that way you can start with conversion ads. If not, you can try it, but I would start maybe with a traffic ad to see who's interested, and then you can retarget them again. I think
Right.
starting with, what I really love, I love engagement ads and I love video views ads, because what I like to do is retarget the people who are interested. That way you don't have to continue to waste your money on cold traffic that isn't necessarily working, especially if you have a smaller budget. um,
Sure.
and I think that's what's really going to be beneficial. And what I love about the engagement ads and the video views ads is that they are cheap. They are cheap, cheap.
Yeah.
So you can get a
So
view or an engagement for like 1 cent or less.
that's amazing. So when we run an ad and we say, hey, let's do this with where there's people who are interested in soccer, and we're going after soccer players because we have this really cool innovative soccer ball we want to sell, and we do
Hmm.
these engagement videos, and when we see that people are watching those videos, we move them into a list that is people who engage with the video. Do we
Hmm.
exclude them from the original one so that we're not wasting budget on that original campaign now that we're focusing on just them and another one?
It depends, honestly. So if you wanted to exclude them, I would say initially I would just exclude the people maybe who purchased. I don't know if I would
Okay.
I would not exclude them from the original ad just yet, because that also depends on your click-through rate. So you're going to want to make sure. I love to shoot for a 2% click-through rate, but also it depends on how much money you're making. If you have a 1% click-through rate and you're making the money that you want to make, I think the click-through rate is fine, but you can always figure out ways to improve it.
Yeah.
However,
It's a cost
if
per
you
lead that people
are,
don't pay attention to. Cost per sale. Yep.
yeah,
I agree.
exactly. So, I mean, I think
Well, that
that
was
excluding people is helpful, but I think initially you don't have to exclude audiences.
gotcha. Now, this wasn't on my list, but I wanted to ask about, I have to ask about TikTok. It's such a big deal right now. Are you doing any advertising in TikTok? And do you have any suggestions for folks that are business owners, maybe even B2B, that want to start dabbling in TikTok, especially for advertising?
I am not currently doing TikTok advertising, but I definitely think, regardless of if you are B2B or B2C, your B to H, which is business to human, and I do believe your audience
I
is on
love that.
TikTok. My mom is on TikTok, okay, and I have, my friends' kids are on TikTok. I'm on TikTok, and well, I watch TikTok. Okay, I'm about to get on TikTok, but I have a friend, Kenya Kelly, who is absolutely
So you
amazing when
haven't
it
done one
comes
yet?
to. I have not. I almost did, but I got overwhelmed
So
with the
you're in
video.
my
But she's
boat. I've had a TikTok account for like a year and I still haven't done one.
she's gonna
I
teach
don't know
me how
what
to
to do.
do it. I'm excited.
I feel like I'm too old. So I
You're
was only on it
definitely
really just to make
not.
sure my kids were staying out of trouble. But I
Mhm.
don't know. It's
You're
it's like
not too
once you,
old. It's so funny.
it's
No,
so
I think
funny.
TikTok is amazing.
Yeah, it'll be cool. So yeah, I think every platform is worth investing in. One of the things I do like about these social media platforms is that you really can just put a couple dollars in it and start just playing, just start experimenting. Start with your bottom of funnel and work your way to top of funnel as you mentioned. Wherever
Hmm.
the problems are that your customers are having, have content, fun, helpful, useful, linkable content. Grow your audience to a place where you feel like you can just target your audience once it's big enough and not waste
Yeah,
as much on trying to expand the audience beyond your group. You might even be able to make enough sales from just your followers if you can grow your followers
right.
enough based on really good content. I love that. Any
And
other
I say,
suggestions before we jump into my lightning round of questions?
yeah. So I tell my clients and I tell people who are looking to grow their following and their income, you know, it's not about having a lot of people. It's about having the right people, because the right people will bring the rest of the people. Okay. So I don't think it's really important to try to reach or get to that illustrious, 10,000 followers or whatever. So you can get the swipe up feature or get to 100,000 followers on between your platforms. I think it's just really
But
important
but
to remember that.
10,000 soccer lovers is something completely different, right? People who are
Yeah,
passionate and engaged
exactly.
in soccer content.
Exactly. Not just 10,000 people who like memes, right?
Right.
So I think it's really, really important, because there are people who are hitting six figures, seven, eight figures, who don't have 10,000 followers. And that should tell you that it's more about your messaging than it is about the people, the amount of people. It's about having the right people. And then also my last little point is just that I think when oh my goodness, what was it? I lost. Oh, because of the pandemic, because of what happened last year, I think people are craving authenticity. They are craving people, right? They really want someone to just be there, that they can talk to, that they can see. And I think when you are able to incorporate yourself, your company's brand, your and your company's culture into your social media, people love that. We loved seeing the dentists and the doctors doing the dances on TikTok. And then again, you don't have to dance, but I think even you, Steve, showing, you asking a question to your students about what's getting on your nerves in marketing. What's your pet peeve in marketing? Um, to me, that's great content. Because I mean, not only is that
Right.
interesting, but it's great for other marketers to see as well. So I think when you really incorporate yourself and your company's brand into your social media, you can't help but win.
That's awesome. I love that. It's so smart too because businesses are so focused on sell, sell, sell. Don't just put yourself out there. Open the window to the world so they can see who you are as a brand. And if you're as amazing as you know you are, you're just gonna attract people. It's like walking into a room full of people, being yourself as opposed to hiding out in the corner somewhere and hoping people come over to you. I love that. That's such
Exactly.
a brilliant idea. So I got some lightning round questions. You ready?
Let's do it.
Number one, what is your favorite tool to use for Facebook advertising?
Oh my goodness. I was
Or do you
going to say
just do
Facebook
it
Audience
straight through
Insights.
the interface?
I
Okay,
do it straight through the
cool.
interface, but I would say Audience Insights, but they got rid of it. So I would have to say Google after that because I use that for my targeting research.
Okay. Any organic tools that you use for social, like a Sprout Social or anything like that, or
Depending
Hootsuite,
on
or
the
any
client that I
recommendations for
have, I
good?
love Sprout Social.
Okay.
I think Sprout
They've been
Social
around
is,
for a
is
long
absolutely
time too.
amazing. Yeah, and I love
Yep.
Planoly. I think that's great for Instagram. But typically,
What's it called?
yeah, Planoly.
Planoly. Oh yeah, yeah. I've actually that
Mhm.
sounds familiar. Next
And
one
I love
was
their
if we
Instagram.
wanted. Yeah, I'll check it out. If we wanted to become
Yeah.
an expert at paid social advertising, what are some places that we can go and learn I know there's LinkedIn Learning and some other places, but where would you recommend somebody who wants to learn a little bit more about Facebook advertising? Where should they go?
To learn more about Facebook advertising, I would say hire an expert like myself to teach you, or Molly Pittman and Ezra Firestone. I think they are the goats in digital advertising.
Okay, right on. Well, we definitely have to make sure that we post your contact info in this so that people who do want to talk to you can reach you for sure. So we had who are your favorite influencers in digital marketing that we should follow on social media?
My favorite influencers on digital marketing, I would say, are I would Kenya Kelly is one because she's TikTok,
Okay,
um, and Molly Pittman. I would say those are
okay,
those are my favorite
very
because
cool,
Molly's great, and she used to work for Digital Marketer.
awesome. All right, and last one off topic. What is the current book you're reading or the last book that you read?
The current book I'm reading is Getting to Yes.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
That was my lightning round of questions. And Ashley, this has been a lot of fun. Any final words? How can everybody get a hold of you if they'd love to pick your brain for all sorts of digital marketing ideas?
Absolutely. You can find me at makeyourmarkconsulting.com. And my Instagram is Ashleigh Chanel, ASHLEIGH. I can spell my name, I promise. CHANEL, one word. And yeah, those are the places you can find me. And I am happy to help to if you need any consulting, or if you just need to, get some Facebook ads up and have some questions about them, I can absolutely help there too.
Awesome. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for being on the show. And for those listening, definitely check out all those resources Ashley mentioned. I know I was taking notes during the show. You probably saw me look down a few times. I'm like, oh my God, she knows all this stuff so well. So for sure, hit up Ashley. And Ashley, thanks you again for being on the show. And we'll hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Yes, thanks so much for having me.